Phase 2 of Wrath of the Lich King Classic is about to get underway, seeing us return to patch 3.1 and unearthing the Secrets of Ulduar on January 19th. Welcome all, my name is Will Lee. Today I'll be running you through all the big features to expect with this major content patch, including a legendary raid, new mounts and collectibles, and a whole new Titan Rune dungeon mode, but more on that later. I want to start off with the big one, the new raid, Ulduar, an ancient Titan facility high above in the Storm Peaks, a place of mystery and wonder, as well as the prison to a monster. Get ready to put your raiding team's progression pants on because this raid has a substantial difficulty curve when compared to Naxxramas or any other Wrath content so far for that matter. Or it can do if you want it to. It's up to what you and your team feel like taking on that week. One of the great things about Ulduar to experience will be that it's World of Warcraft's first and only ever raid to feature hard mode as an alternative difficulty. This is different from heroic or mythic in that you have to complete certain actions, usually within an encounter, to activate hard mode instead of choosing the raid difficulty before you start. On XTD Constructor, for example, you need to nuke down the heart within a 30-second window, causing the boss's health to reset, as well as them gaining more powerful abilities. On Mimiron, you go and push a huge red button and it causes fire to start spawning in the area, making a positioning heavy boss a lot more complicated. Then again, you could just do normal mode to get to grips with the bosses and their mechanics, and then go and do hard mode after you have a bit more experience and loot under your belt. It's not just the hard modes making Ulduar harder either. This raid will be set to its pre-nerf configuration for all boss encounters, and as someone who's tested the changes on the PTR, trust me, you aren't going to be walking over all of the hard mode encounters week 1, if not for many weeks for that matter. But to help us take on the greater challenge, gear from Ulduar has also been buffed across the board. All normal mode loot has been bumped up by 6 item levels, and all hard mode loot, including Algalon's loot table and Valinir, by 13 item levels. This isn't just to make the raid easier, faster though, it's there to keep Ulduar relevant for longer. In 2009, originally, Ulduar was the current raid for a couple of months before Trial of the Crusader came along and totally decimated its loot table. Players back then found little reason to revisit Ulduar since Trial of the Crusader was frankly a much easier raid and a better source of upgrades. Looking back nowadays, we can appreciate that many players really loved Ulduar, so this time around it's going to remain in the spotlight for a little while longer, as it deserves. Let's move on though. Phase 2 will also see an all-new dungeon difficulty called Titan Rune Dungeons. So what are these all about then? Well, inside of all heroic dungeons there will now be a mysterious device. If all 5 players in the dungeon channel it, it will activate a new difficulty. This will increase the health and damage of all enemies present in the instance, as well as providing a thematic affix to shake things up a little bit. In the Utgard dungeons, for example, enemies can apply a Glaciate debuff that deals rapid ticking damage that players have to move to get rid of, and in the Culling of Stratholme, enemies can apply a debuff that will turn players into a zombie if they can't find a cure in time, just like the one from the Wrath pre-patch if you remember that. Now, whilst these dungeons will certainly be harder than regular Wrath heroics, it's no Mythic Plus with an ever-scaling challenge, but it gives a good alternative path to gearing for newer characters and gives us reasons to go back and find a fresh way to take on this content, which back in original Wrath didn't find a huge purpose outside of being a source of emblems. During Phase 2, updates will also be coming to Tier 7 raiding loot tables, so Naxxramas, Obsidian Sanctum, and the Eye of Eternity. What will be happening is that Tier 7 25-man content will begin dropping extra items, the Tier 7 25-man loot tables will be moved to Tier 7 10-man raids, and the Tier 7 10-man raid loot tables will be moved into the new Titan Rune dungeons that we just went over. Imagine each tier of loot just moving one step down from where it is at the moment. That's the easy way to think about it. All Titan Rune dungeons will also drop Tier 7 10-man raiding loot, with the final boss also able to drop tier tokens. For main characters, Titan Rune dungeons will be of interest too, as the daily heroic on this difficulty will also drop a bag that contains 3 emblems of conquest, which everyone will want for gear upgrades come Ulduar. So whether it's seeking upgrades on a fresh character or a new challenge on the main, there's plenty of reasons to check out Titan Rune dungeons. Outside of raiding and dungeon content, the huge empty area in the north of Icecrown will begin to see some action. The construction of the Argent Tournament grounds will now be well underway. During this state, some of the features this area has will be available and some of them won't be quite yet. You'll probably remember this area being a little bit different and having everything unlocked. Here's what content will be available in Phase 2 and what you should expect to look forwards to in a future content phase. You will be able to start off your journey towards becoming a champion for each of your faction capitals. This will involve lots of questing around the whole of Northrend as well as on horseback, first as an aspirant, then a valiant, and finally a champion. This also means you can collect the seals which are needed in abundance for the various mount, pet, and toy rewards, as well as the item level 200 catch-up gear. Oh, and don't forget you need to be exalted with each faction capital too in order to get their respective titles. The meta achievement of Crusader won't be in the game yet, but you can prepare a great deal of the work that goes into that in advance. Also in during Phase 2 will be the Blastbolt Brother dailies to help build the Colosseum. Think of it as doing your part and getting some gold for it at the same time. There isn't a server-wide requirement to do these in order to progress the event, however, like there was during the Isle of Quel'Danas in TBC though. The start of the mysterious Black Knight quest chain will also be in the game too. All of this will be in preparation to set up the tournament grounds for next phase, at which point the Argent dailies and rewards, as well as the Silver Covenant and Sunreaver Sanctum dailies and rewards will become available alongside the new raid and dungeon. So hopefully that clears up what you can expect to be in and what will be coming in a later patch. It's more or less you can start working on tons of the rewards right now, but there'll be more sources of champion seals later to speed things up a bit. Finally, for PvPers, Arena Season 6 and the Furious Gladiators gear sets and weapons will unlock, and the top gladiators will also be able to earn the new Furious Gladiators title and mount. Alongside the changes to gear in Ulduar, all PvP gear across the board will be buffed by 6 to 13 item levels, so the hard-earned gear from PvP remains a great option in that content. And that's what to expect from Phase 2 of Wrath Classic. Whether it's PvE, PvP or collections, there should be something for everybody. I'm personally really looking forward to taking on pre-nerf Ulduar and seeing the raid all the way through myself. We hope you enjoyed the video, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the Secrets of Ulduar very soon.